Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
I prefer Boysenberry more than any ordinary jam.
Hi, good morning everyone. I'm DJ Honey Bunny Hunky Monkey, and you're listening to WRBB 104.9 FM Boston, a broadcast service of Northeastern University. This is Citizens for Boysenberry Jam, and today's episode is Mellow Morning. Been getting some wonderful mellow vibes from the spring weather lately. Hopefully it sticks around this time. We're going to be listening to music from Hawaii, from France, from Germany. We're going to be listening to some classical music, some Brazilian music, some Brazilian classical music. For now, how about some mellow jazz to kick things off? This one's courtesy of Wynton Kelly. He was a jazz pianist, most active throughout the 50s and early 60s. He's probably best remembered today for his appearance in a single track on Miles Davis's famous and masterful Kind of Blue. His own solo work is pretty obscure nowadays. Which is kind of a shame because Wynton Kelly's definitely one of my favorite jazz pianists. He had like a sort of he had like a harmonic elegance to him, and along with that he also had like almost like a childlike aspect to his playing, like a very like not quite exuberant. There was a levity to it though. This one's titled Strong Man from his 1958 debut album that's just titled Piano. For me, it's one of his very best recordings. It's like, I said this was spring vibes, but this one sounds like summer to me, like a very laid-back summer day, clear blue skies. The guitar playing courtesy of, what's his name? Kenny Burrell. Yeah, he's the guitar player. Just like this very languid touch to it. It's very airy melody, just like very breezy. I think it'd make really good music to fly kites to, basically. And after this, we're going to be listening to some Paul Simon, so stay tuned for that. Hope you enjoy. everyone. That was Strong Man by Wynton Kelly from 1958. Now we're moving on to some Paul Simon Spirit Voices from his album Rhythm of the Saints from 1990. Rhythm of the Saints, this one was I'd call it the underrated follow-up to Graceland, his famous Graceland album. This one he kind of tried to do for Brazilian music what Graceland did for South African music. This one's a very common find in thrift stores. If I recall correctly, I got my own copy for just $0.25. It did sell pretty well at the time. It didn't quite take off the same way Graceland did. To be fair, I don't think anything could have, and also I feel like mixing samba rhythms with like his brand of mellow pop rock does seem like a harder task than mixing pop rock with South African music. And it's also true, admittedly, that titles like this one, Spirit Voices, do kind of give off a whiff of like new agey ethno cheese, but I still think it's really good. This one has you're going to hear him in a bit, the great Milton Nascimento, a Brazilian artist, singing backup vocals on this one. You may recognize him from the famous album Clube da Esquina from 1972. Anyway, I'll let you listen to it, and up next we have some Mozart, so hope you enjoy.
A lime green lizard scuttles down the cabin wall, and all of these spirit voices sing rain water, sea water, river water, holy water, wrap this child in mercy, heal her, heaven's only daughter. All of these spirit voices rule the night. My hands were numb, my feet were lead. I drank a cup of herbal brew, then the sweetness in the air combined with the lightness in my head, and I heard the jungle breathe the bamboo. Saudações, dá licença momento, eu te lembro que amanhã será tudo, será nada, depende de coração. Será breve ou será grande, depende da paixão. Será sujo, será sonho, cuidado do coração. Será noite ou será tarde, se esmera coração e confia na força do amanhã. The Lord of the earthquake, my trembling bed, the spider resumes the rhythm of its golden thread, and all of his spirit voices rule the night, and all of his spirit voices rule the night, and all of his spirit voices.
That was Spirit Voices by Paul Simon. Now we're listening to some Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart from 1776. Actually, this one's from July 1776. A little patriotic of Mozart, I suppose. So Mozart, maybe the first musician who ever meant anything to me. I was absolutely on that Baby Mozart and Mozart's Greatest Hits CD grind as a wee 5-year-old. Let me turn it down. There we go. Yeah, there's just something so decadently lazy about Mozart's music. I don't know how to explain it. I wish I were more articulate about these things. I'm always reminded of the great Charles Rosen's essay about Mozart, in which he called Mozart the most sinful of composers, which is probably kind of strange because a lot of people consider Mozart to be almost like square and traditionalist, like stuffy classical music nowadays, like compared to like more avant-garde, like, I don't know, Shostakovich or Mahler or whatever. But he did write that perhaps no composer used the seductive physical power of music with the intensity and the range of Mozart. What else was it that he said? Oh yeah, here it is. He wrote, "What is most extraordinary about Mozart's style is the combination of physical delight, a sensuous play of sonority and indulgence in the most luscious harmonic sequences, with a purity and economy of line and form that render the seduction all the more efficient." That's what I've always gotten about Mozart's music. He is in that way, I suppose, a subversive artist, contrary to his very square image nowadays. But like I said, there is something very decadent and lush about this. This very simple seeming melody is just so rich. This one's his Divertimento number 11, movement 3, Andantino in A major from 1776. Hope you enjoy. Moving on from Mozart, we've got some Genesis. This one's titled Inside and Out from 1977. This one's actually from an EP, not very widely listened to, titled Spot the Pigeon. It's strange that they didn't include this on any of their albums, because I think this is definitely one of their most accomplished compositions. Apparently, their one of their band members, Steve Hackett, left the band because they didn't choose to include this one on their album Wind and Wuthering, which isn't a very good album, so I don't know why they choose to do that. But yeah, this is sort of you're gonna hear it in a sec, but this is sort of the prog rock to pop transition that Genesis were sort of going through at the time. Very soon after, they'd be full on pop rock. They'd have their hit songs. Peter Gabriel would leave the band. Phil Collins would stay in, and then he'd have his own solo career. But anyway, this is a very beautiful song. I mean, just that keyboard tone for starters, and then just the very airy guitar sound. It's just wonderful. It's just that golden mean of prog rock. Genesis anyway has always been my favorite of the big prog bands. It helps that their lyrics, they have very prog rocky lyrics, but it definitely helps that Peter Gabriel is actually a great singer. He actually sounds he cares about what he's singing about, and he's capable of being rousing and powerful. Whereas with Yes and King Crimson, I like those bands, but they kind of just sound like dorks whenever they're singing. I guess that's just a prog rock thing. But anyway, I'll let you listen to this one, and after this we'll be listening to some more jazz. Hope you enjoy.
All
everyone, you're listening to Citizens for Boysenberry Jam. That was Inside and Out by Genesis. Now we're moving on to some more jazz music, courtesy of Art Farmer. This one's titled Goodbye Old Girl from his album Art from 1961. If you're not aware, Art Farmer was a trumpet and flugelhorn player who, in this session, he was sitting in with the great Tommy Flanagan. I sort of gassed up the pianist Wynton Kelly earlier, but Tommy Flanagan, for me, is definitely in that personal jazz pianist trifecta, along with Wynton Kelly and Bill Evans. He's just like this impossibly delicate player. And then there's Art Farmer himself, who I suppose I'm writing an article about him right now for Tastemakers magazine. Shout out Tastemakers. So I might become the foremost expert on Art Farmer in the coming weeks on the eastern coast of the United States. But Art Farmer, he had this... what everyone points to is just his warmth of tone, his lyricism. But for me, he also had this, and I mean this in a good way, he had this, like, terrible lucidity about him. And what I mean by that is, like, when you imagine a jazz player, you sort of imagine, like, this, like with the improv, you might imagine, like, this, like, outpouring of emotion from the heart. But, like, with Art Farmer, it's, like, he's, like, such, like, a patient, lucid player that, like, he seems like he's, like, thinking about, like, every phrase. He's almost, like, slow, so, like, it sort of becomes, like, this very reflective brooding, almost, that I find very, like, bittersweet. It's a very interesting quality to his playing. But anyway, I'll let you listen to this one, Goodbye Old Girl from 1961, and then after this we'll be listening to some Hawaiian music, so stay tuned for that. Hi everyone, you're listening to Citizens for Boysenberry Jam on WRBB 104.9 FM. We're listening to some mellow music today. And how about some Hawaiian slack key guitar music? I've always loved this music. It has this very lazy river tone to it. This one's from 1932. It's called My Wreath of Flowers by George Koo and his Paradise Islanders. Very obscure little single. I don't remember where I found it. This one's like definitely one of like the first Hawaiian singles that were like produced. That's all I know about it. The other thing I know is that the way it's mic'd, the tone, which I call this lazy river tone, it's sort of like, you'll hear it in a sec, it sort of becomes like gently piercing in a way that I haven't quite heard anything else in anything I've listened to. You really just can't, you can just never get enough of this Depression era, early Hawaiian music. This was titled My Wreath of Flowers, like I said, from 1932, and after this we listen to some soul jazz from the 70s, so stay tuned for that.
My dearest darling, it's now 3 in the morning, and at this moment, sleep escapes me. The moon is full, and the sky...
I hate to interrupt this little monologue thing she's doing right now. This one's titled Wishful Thinking by J.J. Barnes from 1973. Another pretty obscure artist, sort of like a soul jazz thingy. Gosh, I love this monologue. It's like this very mellow late night heartsick thing. It's just like you're staring up at the ceiling and the savor of things has become atrociously poignant or something like that. That's what I imagine, but it's still lovely. I'm surprised I haven't heard it sampled in anything because I feel like this would just lend itself so well. Like I said, this one's titled Wishful Thinking from 1973 by J.J. Barnes, and after this we'll be listening to a little krautrock, so stay tuned for that.
Of my mind.
Alone
everyone, you're listening to Citizens for Boysenberry Jam on WRBB 104.9 FM. That was Wishful Thinking by J.J. Barnes. Now we're moving on to something from the same year, 1973, some Popol Vuh. If you don't know them, they were one of the more hippie commune sounding of like the classic 70s German krautrock bands. Think Can and Harmonia, that sort of thing. Also one of the least rocky, to the point where they can like barely be called krautrock sometimes. I love these guys very dearly. They had like a very folky, spiritually questing, almost holy quality to them. This one has, it was a bonus track, or it was originally released as like a single that wasn't even credited to them. It has the same lineup though as the one on their famous Hosianna Mantra album. Has some tambura, oboe, violin, very rich sound to it. From what I understand, this one was actually originally credited to the vocalist who's singing Zhang Yun. She did vocals here and there with Popol Vuh for a couple of years, and then at some point she just seemingly vanished off the face of the earth. Sort of a mystery, as is everything with these guys, but this one's just such a beautiful piece of work. This one's titled Be in Love from 1973. And next up, we're going to be listening to some French orchestral pop music, so stay tuned for that. everyone, that was Be in Love by Popol Vuh. Now, moving on, continuing our mellow theme, we've got some French orchestral pop music from the 60s by Brigitte Bardot, who was a pretty big figure in French pop and yay music. She wasn't really a comprehensive artist, I suppose, in the same manner as, like, Françoise Hardy or whatnot, but she was a very famous sort of sex symbol, to the point where there is a story about Paul McCartney and John Lennon having fantasized together about her in a very particular and peculiar way that I am forbidden from talking about in this station. But anyway, very, very nice arrangement on this one. You got your dots of mellow horn, very delicate acoustic guitar line, and also that Celeste instrument, which you may recognize the same instrument as what's on the Velvet Underground's famous Sunday Morning song. Speaking of which, 2 days ago was the 57th anniversary of the Velvet Underground and Nico album, so happy belated Banana Day, everyone. Anyway, this one's titled Melanie from 1964. Hope you enjoy.
Mélanie s'en mêla les cils et pleura comme toutes celles qui suivent les imbéciles. Quant à la suite de l'histoire, vous la devinez. Ce n'était pas la mer à boire, et tout s'est très bien terminé. Le marin fit naufrage, Mélanie se noya et réunis dans les nuages, ils s'aimèrent et voilà.
Listening to Citizens for Boysenberry Jam on WRBB 104.9 FM. We're listening to some mellow jams today, and this one, almost closing off the hour, we have 15 minutes left. This one's from a group called Cluster from 1976, another group that, like Popol Vuh from earlier, they sort of get broadly lumped into that krautrock umbrella, even though a lot of their stuff doesn't sound like krautrock at all. It's like this stuff they were doing by this point was a lot more electronic leaning, very pastoral electronic. It has this sort of dusky evening sound, which I really love. It's very, like, curiously outdoorsy for being electronic. It has this, like, teeming, burbling tone to it that's almost reminiscent of Brian Eno's Discreet music from a year prior. They did work with Brian Eno in the 70s, so there's that. Underrated, these guys. You should definitely get around to listening to the album So We So So, which this tune is from. This one's titled Zoom Wall from 1976. And after this, we're going to finish off the hour with some Brazilian classical music, so stay tuned for that. Actually, I'm going to start talking about the next one before it even starts. So for the next one, I've been kind of wanting to play it for months now, but I could never really figure out what mix to put it on, so I'm just going to sort of tack it on to the end of this episode, even if it's not exactly mellow. It doesn't really fit in with the theme. But anyway, the next one's titled, it's the first movement of his Heitor Villa-Lobos' Bachianas Brasileiras No. 1, the introduction. So Heitor Villa-Lobos, he was a Brazilian composer, perhaps the preeminent figure in Brazilian classical music, which might not mean a whole lot to you. Perhaps you were not aware at all of the existence of a Brazilian classical music tradition. But these Bachianas Brasileiras, they're meant to be like a fusion of Bach or his style with traditional Brazilian folk forms, very ambitious. This one's sort of an odd ensemble that is scored for 8 cellos, but gosh, the first minute that's about to come up, it's like, if I were smarter, I'd be able to elucidate more beyond just saying that it sounds like if you can imagine like a widening crane shot showing expanding cityscapes and trains rolling through the Brazilian countryside and intersecting, that sort of thing. Just like these like glimmers of modern Brazil. It's from 1930, so I guess that makes sense. The whole piece is like that. It sort of like jumps from these very cold and screechy sections into just these very exuberant traditionalist folky dance parts. But the very first minute of this piece, it's a 7-minute piece, but the very first minute is like one of those minutes of music that I just like replay over and over and over again. It's just like so fascinating to me. But I'll play it now. It's the first movement of his first Bachianas Brasileiras by Heitor Villa-Lobos. Hope you enjoy. You're listening to Citizens for Boysenberry Jam on WRBB 104.9 FM. everyone. That's the end of my blog. Thank you for listening to Citizens for Boysenberry Jam. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I'll be here every Thursday at 11, so stay tuned for that. And I also want to give a shout out to Casey from Cullowhee, North Carolina. I hear she's moving to Ohio soon, so I encourage all my listeners to pray for her soul. Also stay tuned for whatever the next show is coming up in just a minute. I'm DJ Honey Bunny Hunky Monkey, and you're listening to WRBB 104.9 FM. Bye.